All right. Good morning and welcome to the April 2nd Oregon Tourism Commission Executive Director Search Subcommittee meeting and executive session. To everyone that has joined us on Zoom and to those watching the recording on Travel Oregon's Industry YouTube channel, thank you for taking the time to be with us. Today's agenda can be found on the Travel Oregon website if you'd like to follow along. We ask that all attendees other than commissioners and invited presenters remain muted and with their camera off. Commissioners, I'd like to acknowledge that in holding a meeting today, we met all public meeting notice requirements required by state law. On Tuesday, March 31st, the commission meeting notice was posted to the commission meetings webpage. Notice was sent through our industry communications and a link to the meeting agenda was posted. To begin the meeting, I'd like the subcommittee members to briefly introduce themselves, starting with past chair DeNovo.
Thank you, Chair Willits. Lucinda DeNovo, Director of Sales and Events at Coquel Casino Resort, Coos Bay and Medford.
Commissioner Gremmels.
Thank you, Chair Willits. David Grimmels, Commissioner at Large, residing in Medford, Oregon, and happy to be here on a sunny day.
Commissioner Hill.
Good morning, Travis Hill, Chief Operating Officer, representing the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, Seven Feathers Casino Resort, and Umpqua Development Corporation.
Vice Chair Patel.
Good morning, Harish Patel. I own and operate the Quality Inn in Coos Bay and Hampton Inn in Pendleton.
And I am Greg Willits. I own and manage Five Pine Lodge Shabui Spa in lovely Sisters, Oregon. And we are also joined by our fellow commissioners, Heather Miller, Nick Pearson, and Jen Rowe, as they await the executive session to follow subcommittee's meeting. Today, we also have our Department of Justice Representative Sylvia Cramond in attendance to provide counsel if needed. Good morning, Sylvia.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. And you got my name right. It's Cramond, but I answer to anything close.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that, Grace. The Executive Director Search Subcommittee was called to meet today to formally adopt the same executive search materials, including the hiring standards, policy directives, and hiring plan that the full commission adopted on January 30th. Adopting these same materials will legally allow the subcommittee to enter into executive session for purposes of the executive director search pursuant to ORS 192-6602A to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. Just as was done with the full commission in January, a public comment period is required. Submitting written public comments was available through 4 p.m. yesterday, April 1st. No public comments were received in advance. For those wishing to share their public comment now, please indicate your interest by sharing your name and organization in the chat. Staff will organize the list according to order submitted. We request that comments remain respectful and professional and ask that comments be limited to 3 minutes based on the time available. Comments must be related to the executive search materials. Any update, Matt?
No one has expressed interest at the moment.
Okay, we'll give it another 15 seconds. All right. Well, we appreciate the public's interest and collaboration in this process. Your comments have and continue to serve in creating a stronger and more impactful economic development agency for our partners and residents. I'll now hand it over to Vice Chair Patel to lead the discussion and the vote.
Thank you, Chair Willits. As you stated, it is the exact same material that we discussed in January. If the subcommittee wants, I can ask Matt to share that on the screen if anybody would like to go over it or if anyone has any more questions on it. Does anyone have any questions or would you like to go over it again? Well, since everyone's aware of it and already seen this material, I'd like to have a motion to approve this material.
Chair,
So
thank you. Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If there is none, then I'd like to start the roll call. Commissioner DeNovo,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Gramels,
aye.
Chair Willits,
Aye.
and Harish Patel. I'm I too. So the motion is approved. So this session is adjourned, and I'll hand it back to the chair.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair Patel. That concludes and adjourns our Executive Director Search Subcommittee public meeting. The full commission will now transition to an executive session. Do you have any additional instruction for us, Matt?
Greg, you can continue to read,
Okay.
introduce the executive session so we have the statute and the directions.
Okay. The Oregon Tourism Commission will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-660-2A and F, which allows the commission to meet to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent, and to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. Only individuals authorized or invited by the commission will be permitted into the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to exit the Zoom meeting. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision or action may be made in executive session. The executive session will not be recorded. Individuals authorized or invited to the executive session are asked to identify themselves by raising their virtual hand so they can be moved into the Zoom breakout room with our commissioners and Department of Justice Representative Sylvia Crammond. I have requested the attendance of certain key individuals at this executive session, as each plays an active role in the executive director search process and is expected to uphold the same standards of confidentiality and adherence to established search best practices. Given the complexities associated with this disclosure of confidential and privileged information, their participation is prudent to ensure alignment and compliance as related policies are discussed and developed. The individuals included are Dr. Dion Logan, People and Culture Director at Travel Oregon, Sarah Watson, Internal Advisor and Chief of and Staff Communications, Anna Richter-Taylor, External Communications Consultant, and that's it. Matt, are you identifying people to move?
I apologize. I am having an issue with the breakout room, so I do
Okay.
need to ask the non-authorized folks to leave the meeting. Those are our general attendees of the meeting, and we will proceed with the executive session as we are. So we'll just
Okay.
take a second here. My apologies.
I'll finish up here. For all other attendees, thank you for attending, and we wish you a pleasant day. The commission will adjourn at the end of executive session. The next Oregon Tourism Commission meeting will be noticed and posted to the industry website as soon as it is available.